Rundown, March 16th. It is Wednesday. Quick shout out to 47 brand. They know I'm on the Celtics bandwagon, the train hard, hooking me up with a bunch of Celtics gear, so appreciate them for that.
Was that an ad?
What's that?
Is that an ad?
No, I'm just saying thanks.
Portnoy's not going to be happy about that one. You just gave away some free ads. Actually, we should start doing that.
Pennies in his pocket, man.
We should start doing that. We should set up like a Feidelberg KFC Big Cat Venmo for like whenever he's not on the rundown.
You've worn like hats and shirts, and you shout out like Chicago companies. I'm just saying thanks to these guys. They sent me a shirt.
I'm into it now. I'm saying,
by the way, this shirt,
sell it.
This shirt with Jordan's face. If we wouldn't be sued immediately, we would make $1 billion off this because all the black people in the world would buy that shit.
This brought to you by Patagonia. Patagonia, best place for hats. If anyone who works at Patagonia is watching this, hit me up.
Yo, what we should do, and I've heard of this before, you set up an online tip jar, and it's just like a Venmo, and it's like, hey, if you liked my blog, you can send me like $5.
Well,
I think we make some money off that.
And we do it for this rundown, this lineup, because we know Dave doesn't watch it.
Never.
So
But again, we're going to run into the same problem we ran in with Caleb yesterday. We got snitches.
All right, well, if you don't snitch, we'll maybe send you $1.
Work them into the deal.
Not snitching. We have to have a non-snitching culture here when it comes to Dave not being on the rundown.
This is like we're all siblings. We're all siblings. Like, don't tell dad about this.
Right.
We're just gonna work this out. Don't tell mom and dad. First up, we got the UVA kid, hard labor, 15 years in North Korea because he tried to steal some symbol of not freedom in Korea. Kevin, what do you got?
This is why you don't go. It's why you don't go to North Korea. Everybody's seen my map, big giant X's over all these sort of countries. What is the appeal of North Korea? Why would you ever go there? There's no reason to do it. Only bad things can happen. And when you go there and you decide to be a fucking idiot, like frat boy, drunk idiot, like moron, you're gonna end up with 15 years hard labor. It's the ultimate like, what the fuck did I do? You know when you like really screw up and you do something dumb, but all that happens is like, I don't know, slap on the wrist. When you end up with 15 years hard labor in North Korea, you just got to kill yourself because you screwed up beyond in like the most colossal way possible.
Dan?
Just a full disclosure, this is a hot take rundown for me. I didn't see any of the topics because I was out and I just sat down and we literally hit Skype.
When do you think, let's ask a serious question. When do you think the last time I hosted a rundown and you read the topics?
Yesterday.
You didn't read the topics.
I did read the topics yesterday. I watched that Indian dude die, John. I watched him fucking
this is
die.
Like the stand. This is worse than sneaking in free advertising. Dan just doesn't read topics. What do you got on this story you don't know anything about?
All right. I had to do a phone call because we're hiring a CEO, someone who's going to basically be Portnoy's boss. So that's kind of important. Like, we need to hire someone who can tell Dave like what to do and not be like a pussy about it. So I was doing that, and I went to grab some lunch.
Are you pretending to be Dave on this rundown? And you're doing excuses, or are you just gonna fire off your tape?
No, I'm telling you where it was.
I got it. You weren't here. That's understood.
So I sat down, and you did the rundown. We're doing the rundown 30 minutes before we usually do. Are we not?
I G-chatted you 45 minutes ago.
Did you see I didn't reply? All right, North Korea. Fuck North Korea. Next.
Seriously.
Next. Rubio, Trump. This was quite a day in politics, as pretty much every day as the reality show wears on. Rubio bowed out last night after getting embarrassed in his home state, and Trump today replied with like a theater trailer of movies about why we should be tough and mean. Dan, what do you got on this?
Rubio, like, what do you do if you're Marco Rubio? You have to disappear and never come back, right? I mean, he was the golden boy for the Republican Party. He was the up and comer. Like we got Marco Rubio. You know, he's son of an immigrant. He's got everything. Dude couldn't even fucking win his home state. He won Miami. He won like a bunch of Cuban dudes in Miami, and that was it. Unbelievable. As for Trump, that ad was amazing. It looked like it was from Always Sunny. It was poorly done, but perfectly done in the fact that it gets across exactly what he wants. he's flipped the whole political game on its head. Like, he can put out a 15-second Instagram of Hillary barking and Putin doing karate, and it's the most powerful message you've ever seen in your life.
He's figured it out. He's got a formula. Everybody in politics used to like treat Americans like they were smart and like try to actually like reach them about issues and shit. And Trump's just like, everybody's fucking stupid. This is what stupid people love. So I'm going to make funny videos about karate and barking because everyone's going to like that. So I don't know. Do you think Trump is self-aware? Do you think he knows that that's ridiculous?
I think he's a lot smarter than we give him credit for.
Yeah, like
all right.
when he says like we don't want to be the punchline anymore, I feel like he has to know that he and every political person right now is the punchline. I just think he doesn't care. I think he's like, I'm going to win, so it doesn't matter.
I was actually thinking about this earlier today, like what would take down Donald Trump at this point? And I think it's the fact that he probably is the quote today when he said that like his consultant is his brain, which was a Dave Portnoy quote through and through, like calling his big brain and saying that he consults with himself because he's so smart. I think there'll be a point where like he'll just do the entire presidential campaign on his own gut, and eventually I would assume like the other side will pick like someone smart to be like, yo, this is how you beat him, and Trump will just be like, I got it. Like my big brain will do it. It's the Dave Portnoy. Like Dave Portnoy thinks we could be BuzzFeed with his big brain, and it's like that's why we got bought by Chernin.
Can you imagine going to a poll and voting for David Portnoy? You have to imagine it's not going to translate. Like Dave's thing, like when Dave was running for mayor, like he was breaking all the polls online. When it got down to it, he couldn't do it. You have to imagine that's going to happen with Trump. Like you can make all the funny videos and make weird haircut Seth be your little Christy bitch in the corner, like waving a flag and shit. Eventually, people have to actually go vote. I've been a person who's like discredited Trump from the beginning, being like, no chance can he do it. But now I'm like, you know what? He can fucking do it. Like this is insanity.
I mean, all the rules are out the window. So what we're saying there, John, is like this can't happen based on the old rules. It's not that way anymore. So like anything can happen.
What do you guys think the odds that Trump calls Hillary a bitch or a cunt?
He's gonna make a Lewinsky joke for sure.
Oh, he's gonna do something, but that's
you know what he'll say? He'll say like "bark for me, Hillary," like or "bark like a dog, Hillary," and it's the country is gonna explode. With that.
Like just last night, they went nuts enough over Joe Scarborough saying that she should smile more or something like that, and chicks hate like periods, fucking boners. And random boners and being told to smile. They fucking I don't really understand it. It makes no sense to me, but feminists go nuts if someone says you should smile more.
Well, I will say that, like, if someone told me to smile more, I'd be like, fuck you, dude. But no one does that to guys.
But when, like, no one's... I totally agree on, like, some chick walking in the street. That's ridiculous. Right. But, like, a political figure, like, we say, Trump, stop looking like an asshole. Ted Cruz, stop looking like your face is melting. Right. Hillary, stop looking like a stupid bitch.
Rubio,
like,
cover up your ears. Right, exactly.
Stop wearing high heels. Like, your appearance is questioned a lot more when you're fucking standing on a stage in front of the whole country.
For sure.
It's very
Let's
different.
Just be happy that we don't have to see those lobes anymore. That's the best part, that those are gone now. Because I couldn't look at anything but those floppy earlobes every time he was on the TV. Whoa.
Next up, Jared from Subway. This is a shocker. He's getting his ass kicked in jail. The fucking pedophile from Indianapolis who worked for Subway is not having a great time in jail. Kevin, what do you got?
Obviously, when you're a pedophile, this is what happens. This is what should happen. This is justice. But even if he went to jail for something else, a white-collar crime or anything that wasn't children-related, he would still get his fucking ass beat because he's Jared. I don't think there's anybody in the world that likes Jared from Subway. Is there anybody out there who would be like, yeah, no, that's a cool dude. I like him from those commercials. Everybody hates him. He'd get his ass beat no matter what.
Dan?
Shout out to my boy Stephen Nigg. Awesome for beating his ass.
Hank, you should have seen Hank's reaction to that. Hank didn't realize that Stephen Nigg was a character in this story, and his head went flying back.
Who didn't?
Hank.
He thought you said the N-word, Dan.
Oh yeah. Well, no. I mean, the guy's name is. Am I pronouncing it correctly?
No, you got it. I'm saying Hank did not. Hank's like
Oh,
you and
got
didn't
it.
read the stories, so he
Yeah.
was
No,
surprised by what
Nig,
happened.
Stephen Nig kicked the shit out of Jared Fogle, 60-year-old dude. I agree with you, Kevin. Though Jared Fogle, just like the Subway guy, even if he's not if he goes to jail for tax fraud, I think like the Stephen Niggs of the world are gonna beat the fuck out of him. Why are you guys laughing?
Did you see the story like 2 weeks ago where he's also put on 30 pounds already?
Oh yeah, of course.
I mean, which is impressive because I thought like it was impossible to put on weight in prison. Like they don't give you food and all you got to do is sit around and do push-ups all day. But Jared Fogle is the type of fat ass who would definitely get fat in prison.
I like to say I'd sit around and do push-ups all day. I would get so fucking fat in prison.
Yeah.
But they don't give you
Like,
good food.
Yo, that dude's life is over. Even once he gets out, he's Jared the Subway pedophile. Why even try to stay in shape? I would eat until I die. That guy should just kill himself by gluttony. His life's over.
Absolutely over. The sentence that he's received is basically he got sent back to high school, where he's like the fat little bitch again, getting slapped around. There was a story where he was in the gym and they told him to get the fuck out and never come back. And I could just see him just wallowing away and just sitting in the corner eating his fucking shitty prison food, getting fat again, and just being sad.
Wait, they told him to get the fuck out of the prison. And isn't he in like low security too? He's not even in like the hardcore clink.
I don't know where he is. I imagine he's not in a very it's
hope
not
he's
a
in
white
the
collar
hardcore
crime he committed.
clink.
I don't think he's in the hardcore clink. When I read that, I thought he was in low security. I mean, the dude.
Fucking kid stuff. You should go to like the worst of the worst.
I totally agree. But I'm just saying, I think Jared Fogle, the Subway guy, might have gotten some preferential treatment. But now that I found out the story that you just said, John, of him getting like shamed out of the gym, I mean, that's not his fault that he's fat. Then that's those bullies' fault.
He tried. Jared tried.
He showed up to the gym. If I walked in the gym and someone's like, "Get the fuck out, you fat ass," I would be 700 pounds.
Dude,
Oh man,
dude,
I want that avenue so bad.
I look for any excuse to not go to the gym. Where it's like, oh, it's raining out today. Oh, I can't find a parking spot. Oh, I forgot my headphones. Oh, this fucking murderer told me to get the fuck out and never come back. I'm like, all right, I'm done with gym. Done.
Couldn't you see Dan like walking away with his towel, like the Charlie Brown music playing, head down? Get the fuck out, you fat ass.
Next is Spooky Ghost. Spooky Ghost finally got sentenced 5 years for putting every celebrity in the world, putting their nude pics online. Dan, what do you got for me?
He just got, what's the guy's name? Like, where's he from? What's his deal?
I don't know.
We don't know. He's still Spooky Ghost?
We're the only ones in the world.
It's released, but I don't know. I forget.
Yeah, Spooky Ghost. You had to know this was coming for Spooky Ghost, right?
I don't know. I think of hackers as like invincible characters. Like how does a hacker get caught? You hacked Apple and hacked every celebrity's fucking picture.
Don't you just like look up their IP addresses?
I think it's a little more
I
complicated.
think when you're a hacker, I think somewhere in the back of your head you know that eventually the clock runs out on you. Whether you get caught by the police or whoever you're hacking, I think he knew his crusade and he was okay with the consequences. That's the way I like to think of it, at least.
He's a
that
hero.
He was like, did this for the people. I mean, but all right, the celebrities who got leaked probably don't like Spooky Ghost, and like 20 Twitter eggs on Twitter don't like Spooky Ghost, and the rest of the natural world loves this guy. So 5 years in prison is a small price to pay for being a worldwide hero, if you ask me.
That's why he needs his name out there, though. Like, I can't be like, "Hey, Spooky Ghost, good job." Like, who the fuck is Spooky Ghost? I'll say this though about hackers. What's up?
Hank's gonna read us his name.
His name's Ryan Collins. He's 36 from Pennsylvania.
Thank you,
Collins,
Ryan.
36, Pennsylvania.
Okay, interesting. I wouldn't have expected Pennsylvania.
Oh no, California.
California.
There you go.
Yeah,
That
that's more
makes so
than
much
the
sense.
Spooky
I was
Ghost
about
speed.
to say I feel like it's a California guy, but okay.
He's a Pennsylvania man.
Okay. So I think though, once the CIA and or not CIA because they're overseas, once the FBI starts getting on your ass and they like drop everything else, they'll catch any hacker because all these hackers are the same. It's like they signed up for like a Yahoo fantasy football league in like 2002 and they like trace it all through that. Like that's how the Silk Road guy got caught. He was like on like a message board for like, waiver wires and it was like, oh, we connected all the dots and like boom, we just took you down.
Did either of you ever jerk off to either of the Spooky Ghost pictures?
Bro, who jerks
No.
off the pictures?
That's the lamest thing ever.
See, I feel like some people did. Like that was
Yeah, those are lame people.
that's why I'm not sure that this was like it was cool to see them naked, but I didn't like it didn't make me come, and that's a pretty important piece.
The best part of the fappening was Verlander.
Verlander was the highlight of the Fab. Well, Verlander, Hope Solo, and the chick from Downton Abbey who she just got a picture of a dick in her eye. That's it. It's just a cock right in her eye.
And none of that was like
that one.
sexual. It was all just like, oh, these are fucking pictures that are going to
No,
talk.
like, these people are
If
fucking.
you jerk off to pictures in 2016, you better be like a 13-year-old.
Well,
You're
actually,
Jared.
no. Hang
Fuck
on,
it.
there were more.
Jared.
There were more good ones. Some of the other highlights. Bar Raffaele putting a dildo in her ass. That's big time.
I forgot how many pictures there were.
Seriously, I don't think I even knew that one.
And John, you have like way too intimate of a knowledge of this Rolodex
I just
here.
remember them. They're
you
they're
Spooky
pretty.
Ghost?
Nothing I said is not memorable. Like a Bar Raffaele with a dildo in her ass. I'm not going to forget that picture.
See,
I
you
apologize.
could, if you were smart, you could just keep going and like say random people with random shit up their ass, and Kevin and I would be like, "Oh yeah, we remember that one. Oh yeah."
Jennifer Lawrence came the best out of it. Jennifer Lawrence was like, she was like the hometown girl, like America's little sweetheart, and then she's like covered in cum. That was her coming out party. She was a bit turned into like the sweet little girl to like the whoa, she's a fucking freak.
I'm looking at these Bar Raffaele pictures that I forgot about. Like, I don't even know what that thing in her ass is. Is it really a dildo? It's got a fucking cord and everything.
Oh,
It's a power dildo. You found that picture really quick for a guy who didn't know where it was. It looks like it was on your desktop.
Kevin had that saved in his little
I
folder.
don't know if you guys have heard of this machine called Google where you can fucking find pictures really fast. I don't know.
It's your
guys.
background image. You just minimized the window and it was just there. Just Bar Raffaele with a fucking electronic dildo in her asshole. Next up, this is like my favorite video of the fucking year. Chris Christie's son running to first base, Princeton baseball, calling himself safe when he was halfway down the line. I've watched it 50 times today. I laugh out loud every single time. Kevin, what do you got?
Dude, when I saw your tweet that said out by a mile, I thought we were going to talk about baseball terms, out by a mile. Like you beat him by like a bang bang step, but it's still a lot. He was like 15 feet away.
I think he was 4 steps. I think it took him 4 more steps to get to the base.
I love the confidence, the commitment. Like that was great. I don't have anything to say about it really. It was just so fucking funny.
And
The key to the only thing I'll say is the key is finding out if he was being serious or not. If he was being serious, this is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. If he was just being fat guy funny, it's still funny, but it takes a little like shine off of it. You know what I mean?
I think you're giving a Christie a little too much credit. Like
As
he was
a fat guy who plays softball, like when I go from like first to second really slowly, I'll be like, "Whoa, you guys see like."
Dan,
Or someone will put up the stop sign. I'm like, I almost blew through that, dude. Like my speed can barely like. That's kind of like you make jokes like that on the diamond to cover up how fat and unathletic you are.
Dan, D1 baseball is a little different than your fucking 16-inch softball.
I'm just saying, dude. He was so out, and everyone knew he was so out. I feel like that was a fat guy joke.
No, I said in it. I think I see what he was thinking. He thought the guy came off the bag. He didn't. It wasn't really close. And even when you think someone comes off the bag, you don't immediately throw the safe. You point at the bag and you're like, he was off. You don't just throw a safe. You explain your reasoning. I think that's what it was. He thought the guy came off the bag. He wasn't fucking making a joke. Because you do it in softball.
Yeah, I'm right on this one. I think people will agree with me. You didn't do yourself any favors by saying this is the funniest thing you'll see all day. That's a really tall bar to jump over.
I mean, I stand by that.
I also saw it yesterday, not to be a hardo, but when I retweeted it.
Hardo!
I mean, I'm sorry, John, but like it was the funniest thing I saw yesterday. If we're being technical here.
Next up, Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds beat Giancarlo Stanton and Kristen Yelich. He's a Stoolie, so I feel bad mispronouncing his name. In a home run derby contest, spring training today. 51 years old. Dan, what do you got?
Dude, this just shows, like, the fact that Barry Bonds got blackballed when he did, he could have played a few more years and just still mashed. I mean, steroids or not, the dude was one of the best baseball players of all time. He was one of the best baseball players before he even did steroids. He obviously got the power numbers from the steroids, but it's not surprising. He is behind Babe Ruth, the greatest hitter of all time. Maybe Ted Williams, the greatest hitter of all time.
He was put on this planet to bash home runs, and so he did some steroids to make him bash even more. But that doesn't really matter. That's what the guy does. And you're right, man. Like the even if he stopped when he was 41 or 2 or whatever it was, like he would have had several more years of that shit still in him, being all jacked up, whacking the balls to the moon. I would have taken him on my team in a heartbeat. I'd probably still take him on my team right now.
Yeah, as a DH, if the NL had a DH, I would be like, well, maybe take a look at him. I mean, although then you throw in the fact that he's like an all-time dickhead, but
whatever, man.
I'll give him this. When he left the game, he appears to be happier. He's always smiling down in Miami.
So
weird.
he retired when he was 41 or 42. How old's A-Rod?
Probably 41.
I'd say 2. I'd
Yeah.
say
2.
I mean, you can't tell me that.
And A-Rod, he's still contributing. Bonds was still a fucking immortal at that point. Come on.
A-Rod's
Bonds
40?
last season
A-Rod's
in
40.
2007, he got injured. Or no, yeah, he might have gotten injured for a little bit, but he still hit 28 home runs. He hit 28 home runs in 340 at bats.
Crazy.
That's a joke.
The fact that there wasn't anybody willing to take a flyer on him is kind of crazy.
As he got blackballed. Baseball's the fucking worst. With
But
that
yeah,
shit.
there's so many better things to blackball over than fucking that. Stupid.
But that was the steroids fallout where everyone wanted to be like, oh, like we're better than that, even though it's the whole reason the baseball came out of the whole
Dark Ages.
Yeah, the dark ages, especially after the picket or whatever the strike year.
Last up, we'll do the Cal basketball coach caught sexting with a reporter, trying to get her to have a threesome with him, and he was always saying, no, let's not meet at a Starbucks, let's meet at a bar, let's meet at my apartment. She wasn't very into it. She's now suing them or whatever it may be. Kev, what do you got?
If you're gonna sext, get your money's worth. Like if you're gonna send messages to a chick, kind of sort of pressuring her and saying you want to fuck her and stuff, and you're if you're gonna say something that you can get in trouble for, you better really go all in. You better be like, yo, send me your pussy, I want to fuck you. Because if you're gonna get in trouble for it, you want to at least have really gone all in with your text. His is so vague and weird. It almost makes it creepier because it's just pressuring her in a weird way rather than just being like, yo, you're hot, I want to fuck, like a normal guy. So he almost looks worse, and he didn't even really get anything out of the sext. So bad job all around by that dude.
I agree. It's definitely way, way creepier. If he would just send me your fucking toes, it would have been less creepy than this. Her being like, no, Starbucks, and he's like, no, my apartment.
This is Dennis Reynolds. This is
it's
how
100% the implication. It's a coach talking to a reporter, and she's not going to say no because of the implication. Dan,
I guess I probably should have read the text.
probably.
They're really not that good. It's I got excited. I thought we were gonna see some Tiger Woods shit, and it was nah.
You have to feel that out in person first too. I feel like you have to know whether she's down or not. And then especially if you have a job like that and reporters, you don't want to get tangled up with reporters. I feel like they always try to fuck people for the scoop and for the story. And
their entire life is about finding an angle, and this unbelievable angle falls in her lap with these sex.
Of all people to try to bang, stay away from the reporters. I feel like you're just asking to get exposed.
They're all
because what
snitches.
happens if it's a crazy chick? If it's a crazy chick on the side and she exposed you, it's oh, okay, well, we don't know her. You just did it with a person who actually has a voice and can be like, hey man, this guy's a creep.
The one thing I will say, when I read the first day of texts, it was hard to tell who was who.
Yeah, me too.
She was being equally as flirty. So it was wait, who's who here?
One of those.
And then 3 days later, it became more clear. But the initial text conversation, she made the huge mistake of adding emojis. Once you add emojis, all bets are off.
Yeah, if you emoji me back, I think that you're enjoying this conversation.
It's like favoriting my tweet. If you send me an emoji or favorite my tweet, I'm instantly okay, they want to fuck me. That's a fact.
I've said this before. I'll say it again. and this goes for all interactions when you're trying to text, when you're getting into a situation where you might get exposed like this, just jerk off and then text back. That's really as easy as it can be. If he just was like, stop, jerk off, then reply to her text, I guarantee he's not in this problem.
But if to kind of piggyback on that, if you're actually sexting with someone and they're into it, don't jerk off, because then once you do, you're like, fuck, now they're coming over. Son of a bitch.
But if you're in like that gray area where your dick starts doing all the thinking, go jerk off, then bring your brain back to the table and try to do some negotiations that way. You won't get in trouble like this. Like that guy, I bet you that guy on the rundown would be like, hey man, you probably wish you jerked off. You'd be like, yeah, dude, I really do.
I think there needs to be some sort of like immunity too when you're texting, because that's the whole point of texting. You can say shit that you would never really say. That's why people send sexts. So I don't feel like that should not be able to be like held against you in a court of law sort of thing.
It might actually be like the one case where we need to like bring back the phone call, because the phone call has died. The phone call is a dead.
Yeah, you would never say that shit over the phone.
Right, but maybe that's the only safe way to roll these days, is you got to do it all on phone.
But once you've gotten into sexting, you'll say it over the phone. If you've ever sexted, you'll say it on the phone.
Yeah, but then she can't prove, like, nothing can be proven when you're doing it over the phone.
No, I agree with you. I'm saying
now we are Dennis Reynolds. Like, I realize how bad that was as it was coming out of my mouth. Like, we're not saying don't be a creep. We're just saying try to figure out a way that you can't prove that you're a creep, guys.
It's not wrong. It's not wrong. That's the. I just turn this off. No, that's the rundown. What do we got today? Kev, bracket of villains. How's that going?
Oh yeah, give us an update.
Shooter McGavin is putting on a all-out social media blitz trying to win this thing. I mean, he retweets it and tweets about it like 7 times a day. And so he, as an 11 seed, has trounced both of his competition. Drago, and then I don't even know who the second one was. He destroyed the second guy, too. So right now, I'm looking at the next matchups, the next big matchup. Oh, Newman is making a lot of noise, Dan. Making a lot of noise as a 14 seed, but he's up against Heisenberg. So that's kind of like, I think the Cinderella run might come to an end. And it's Shooter McGavin versus Hannibal Lecter.
The shooter social media campaign has very much swung me, because I'm totally on board that he's like one of the worst villains of all time.
So, because of his tweets.
Even though Hannibal Lecter
thought about
human beings?
What's that?
Hannibal Lecter used to eat people's livers and eat their faces.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a
Is
tough
Buffalo
matchup.
Bill in there?
No, because I went with like the Lecter as the representative of that movie. OJ beat Suge Knight, which I don't think I agree with. I think OJ, like Suge Knight just is OJ, but like he did it a lot more.
Suge Knight is OJ, but like OJ has to get angry to kill people. Suge Knight kills people when he wakes up out and like rolls out of bed
For fun, yeah.
Yeah, but Suge Knight like kills enemies. Like that's kind of just part of the game. OJ like decapitates his ex-wife.
Yeah, but that was a crime of passion, John.
Well, that's why it should have at least been a good matchup. I think he like blew him out of the water. He faces your boy Dan Martin Shkreli. OJ versus Shkreli.
I already voted, and I voted Shkreli.
We're still in negotiations with Shkreli. We want to do a slap off with him. It's tough because it's really tough to figure out. He's such kind of like a fame whore now that you don't. It ruins it. You know what I mean?
It's like when people become self-aware. It's almost like he wants the attention now and shit.
So we might do it when we all move to New York, and it's like I don't have to actually track because I don't want to show up and have him. He's like YouTube live stream YouTube's like all day every day now.
Yeah, he said he would like beat up Ghostface Killer the other day, didn't he?
Yeah, so I don't. It sucks. He ruined it for everyone. He ruined what would have been a great Barstool video by becoming self-aware.
The last matchup, this is for Portnoy. We have Goodell and LeBron James as a 2-3, which is like, what would Portnoy do there? Who do you think he'd vote for?
Goodell's a genuine villain. LeBron's just an annoying bitch.
Yeah, I mean this whole thing. There's varying definitions of villains that you got to play with here.
I still don't think Goodell's a villain, but and neither is LeBron. I think Goodell's just a moron. Like he's like Jerry Jones is a villain. You know what I mean? Like the owners are the villains. They basically poltergeisted Roger Goodell. So they take their evil sides and put it into Roger Goodell and like puppet master him to do whatever they want. So like Roger Goodell himself, not a villain. The NFL, like what he stands for is villainous.
The commissioner's office stands
Right,
for-
is a villainous office, but I don't think Roger Goodell himself, like I don't think he's actually saying, I want to screw over this team, I want to screw over these people. I think it's all his buddies like nudging him and being like, hey man, you got to fucking take care of the
See,
Patriots.
at
like,
some point, it falls on your shoulders, though.
I think he's too dumb. Honestly, I think he's too dumb.
I don't think Roger Goodell's an idiot.
He's a fucking lackey. He's been like a lackey since day one.
Well, who
He was-
wouldn't be a lackey for $40 million?
Wasn't he Pete Rozelle's like water boy for a while?
Yeah,
Like,
but that
driver?
makes you a villain. That like
Yeah, but he's like a little lackey.
if
Like,
if you've been a lackey for 30 years, at some point it becomes part of who you are.
They're gonna
you
kick
can't
him
just
out
keep
when
pushing
they're-
up on other people.
They're gonna kick him out soon anyway, and he's just gonna be like some poor Well, he's not gonna be poor. He's gonna be really rich, living in wherever he lives and wearing his sweaters, and it's gonna be Goodell. So, and LeBron, we just hate LeBron. He's not really a villain. If
Yeah,
LeBron was a villain, he'd be likable.
Right. His problem is that he's not the villain, but I
Right.
just figured someone that hated needed to be on the list.
Okay,
All
check
good.
it out.
I'm kind of
I'm
pissed.
so-
Oh wait, speaking of that, two things more in the bracket realm. One, we already lost in that other bracket. Someone had a
So stupid we didn't do that ourselves. That makes me so mad.
Although I will say this, that bracket's kind of annoying because it's literally like everyone in the industry. Like 64 people is like you put everybody on that list. So losing is a good thing though, right?
I guess it's you. I don't really care one way or another. I don't agree with the fact that Max Kellerman's more annoying than us though. I don't even think Max Kellerman's like even really relevant anymore. Is he? Like, does he
He's
just
good-
do boxing?
Yeah, he's a boxing analyst, but that's it. Yeah,
I don't know. I don't understand how you can be that
Would
annoying
not
being
be
just being
considered
boxing.
annoying.
yeah.
But the other thing is someone started the Barstool Beefs bracket. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
That's
It's just-
like a Seinfeld moment where like everyone just marches into the courtroom and you're like, oh, we've fucked with a lot of people. Like this
No,
has kind of gotten
like-
out of hand.
I would say like 45 people on that list are just people that I've pissed off on the internet.
Yeah, you are a significant contributor to that bracket.
I know. It's a little scary. I'm
Do you
like,
think
oh man.
you think it's Portnoy? Portnoy's arguments are like go a lot further. They're a lot harsher because he doesn't give anything up ever. But like you have a lot more quick battles, whereas Portnoy has these fucking 1,000-year wars.
Grudge matches. Yeah, I just fucking spray the crowd.
I imagine the blind people walking into that Seinfeld moment.
The in that bracket, the like first round matchup is blind people versus Hondurans, which is like Hondos in the first round. It's crazy. That should have been a Final Four, man. Should have been a title game right there, dude. The committee fucked that one up.
All right, that's the rundown.
All right, talk to you guys later.
All right, later.